I'm still.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Keeping Up with P and P. That's me. If you're new here, click the subscribe button, and if you are returning, what it do? But as y'all can tell, your girl is back with another Greek related video, and it's specifically tailored to how to write an interest letter. I think that it was very important for me to make this video because one, I have received emails and DMs about questions about your interest letter, and I also have looked over someone's interest letter. So I thought it was very, just form-fitting to just go ahead and do this video to help y'all out, because I know, just like the Greek advice video that I gave, I know that there's like some things that you all don't know, and you all might not know or have not a clue how to write an interest letter. So your girl P is here to help. So let's get into this video. So I have several points within my phone that I want to get across and talk to you all about when it comes to writing your interest letters. So let's just start out by saying no one likes a boring interest letter. No one wants to read a boring biography, autobiography. No one wants to read a boring essay, especially because interest letters, they are tailored for you to sell yourself. They are about you, and nobody knows you better than you. When writing your interest letter, when starting out your interest letter, you want to have an attention grabber. Attention grabber is something that draws whomever is reading your essay or paper or whatever the case may be. It's something that draws a person in and makes the person want to continue to read whatever it is that they're reading. So definitely always have an attention grabber. That first sentence of your interest letter is going to make or break you. It's going to either the person want to keep reading what you wrote, or it's going to make them like really be turned off. So if they do continue to read your letter, they're not really engaged, or they're just skimming and not really reading your letter. So make sure you always have that first sentence needs to be an attention grabber. The first few words, they need to be drawn in, like, yeah, I want to keep reading her letter. I want to see more to this girl. I want to know who she is. Like she boom, giving it to us at the beginning of the letter. So I want to know more. I need to know more. When you get that, you best believe they're gonna continue reading your letter. So y'all always remember, have an attention grabber. When it comes to your interest letters, it shouldn't feel like they're reading something boring. It shouldn't be like it's a boring autobiography or a boring, essay, letter, or whatever the case may be, because, an interest letter is about you, writing about you and selling yourself. And at the end of the day, no one knows you better than you. So it's imperative and it's a must that you come hard within your letter and, giving it to them, and it's not boring. Because just think about it, what you like to read, right? What it is that whenever you read and whatever you read, and what it is in particular that allows you and wants you to keep reading. So also think about that when somebody else is reading your letter. This is something that you really want to be a part of and to be a member of. So you need to be giving your all when you're writing this letter. Don't half-ass this letter. You need to come strong, because ain't nobody gonna half-ass tell you no. So if you want to be a member of whatever the case may be, you need to come hard with your letter. Nothing boring. Like, give it to them. Sell yourself. Like I said, nobody knows you better than you. So you want them to know you and what you're about and what you can bring. So you need to give it to them while you have their attention. So there's really no setup or formula like this paragraph you talk about this, or this paragraph you talk about that, or whatever the case may be. There's really no structure when it comes to writing your interest letter. So I think that's why a lot of people struggle, because they're not sure what they should be writing about, what they should be talking about, what should be in it, what should not be in it, how it should be structured and stuff like that. So really there is no specific structure when writing an interest letter, but you do have to give like background information about yourself. So when giving background information about yourself, literally it's going to be like where your attention grabber is, right under it, if you want to have something, you know, some type of structure or some type of idea of a structure of how to write your interest letter. So when you start to talk about, you know, your background information, like who you are, you know, where you from, how old you are, stuff like that, instantly gets to the point, y'all, because you don't want to lose the person's attention because you like just drifting off and just continuously talking like, and this and that and this and that. Like, no, my name is, I'm from here, I'm this age, I'm a sophomore, whatever the case may be. Major is, y'all get to the point. Everything needs to be straight to the point within this interest letter. No beating around the bush, straight to the point, and that's period. Like, I'm being serious, y'all. So I know a lot of people probably would think, okay, well, let me add in my letter something about AKA, or let me give a rundown about AKA. And so I'm here to tell you, and this is probably like with any sorority or whatever, of course people want to make sure that you know about the sorority or whatnot, but also no one wants you to give them a rundown of their sorority. I'm sure they know their purpose, I'm sure they know their motto and stuff like that. If you want to ask something in about AKA or in, you know, any sorority that you are currently trying to pursue, do so in a manner of picking a quality that these women of this particular organization possess, and how that quality that they possess, how you possess it as well, by giving, you know, an experience or something of that nature. Don't just continue to, or, you know, try to give a rundown or talk about, you know, the org or sorority, whatever that you're trying to be a part of, giving, you know, saying what their whole motto is and what they stand for. Yes, we know that, but in some way, you know, without doing so, you can also still, okay, these women, you know, service to all mankind. Okay, find an experience or a quality or something of, you know, that nature, and how that ties back to you and how you could be a good candidate, you know, a member for that particular org. But don't just go and just be like, okay, you guys were founded here, you know, y'all were founded this year, your incorporation date is this and this and this and that. You don't want to do that, because nobody's going to read your letter, because like I said, the interest letter is not about them. It's about you, and you selling yourself to how you can be a good candidate for whatever sorority that is, whether that's Alpha Kappa Alpha or any other sorority. A sorority always wants to know, what can you do for the sorority? Like, what qualities that you possess that can help and contribute to the structure and the sorority in general. So like I said in my Greek advice video, it's the same for your letters. What qualities do you possess that contribute to the structure and to the org itself, and the purpose of the org, the motto of the org, what that sorority stands for? So you need to make sure within your letter that you're illustrating that through, whether it's experiences that you have had, specific roles and titles that you may have possessed, or whatever the case may be. But you want to make sure that that is known, how you can contribute to that org, you know, what qualities and skills that you have in particular that will do, you know, and give more to the org, if that makes sense. Okay, so next, sororities want to know how the org can benefit from bringing you in as a member. What qualities do you possess that can and will contribute to the current stature of the org itself? So with this and what I just said, literally you need to be stating how whatever specific qualities and or skills that you possess, how does those specific skills and qualities that you possess, how does that contribute to the org? You know, what can you bring basically to the organization? Whether that's leadership skills, authenticity, etc., etc., etc. What skills do you pertain that will make you a great member for that particular organization? You want to make sure, based off what I just read, you want to make sure that you're getting and illustrating any skills that you may possess and that you may have, which will allow and illustrate to those by reading your interest letter that you will be a good member and a good candidate for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So you just want to make sure that you're giving them qualities that you possess based on experiences. I want to tie that into it. but my next point is kind of going to tie into it. You should be doing this by giving experiences that you might have had, or you know, went through, or roles in particular that you might have had, and how those current roles or past roles, or how those, you know, current experiences in our situations or past experiences in our situations, how have they molded you and gave you this certain quality that you possess currently now, and how that same quality and that same skill that you might possess now, how does that skill and how does that quality benefit Alpha Kappa Alpha. Any skill that you obtain, again, and any experience that you talk about within your interest letter, you should always be somehow tying it back to how that particular skill that you possess, how that skill that you possess makes you a great candidate for Alpha Kappa Alpha. So like giving your experience and saying your current experience, or your, you know, your current role or past roles, those are like the setup, and then you follow up by saying, given this role or given this experience that I had, I possess this quality, or I possess this skill, or whatever the case may be. But also remembering to tie it back to Alpha Kappa Alpha. Don't just, and this finna go into my next little point or whatever, it kind of draws it all in. Don't get carried away with going on about how you possess this skill and this quality and you had this experience or that experience. You need to make sure that you're tying those experiences to a specific quality you may possess, and how that specific quality makes you a great candidate, whether that's for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated or any other sorority at that in general. Knowing the purpose of the sorority that you are interested in, that you are seeking membership in, you always want to remember, as I stated kind of in the point, to some way, somehow, make sure you're tying in things to that specific purpose of that org. So for me, back in undergrad, I was the president of a org called Campus Girl Scouts. And given the purpose of Alpha Kappa Alpha, I knew that Alpha Kappa Alpha is all about service to all mankind. So like I said, so given that I knew Alpha Kappa Alpha is all about service to all mankind, I kind of talked about and, you know, threw in a certain experience that I had. So I kind of touched on how I was the president of an organization on campus, and I also touched on the service work for the community where I attended, and explained what we did and how that impacted the community, and all while still touching on the service to all mankind aspect, but also illustrating that I possess, you know, great leadership skills, you know, given my position within that certain organization. So I knew that, and I know that Alpha Kappa Alpha is all about service to mankind. So without, you know, giving their whole purpose and telling them their whole purpose, I knew to tie in something, you know, that I've done. I've done service work, and also the service work I did or whatever, it's all, you know, for children, it was for the community or whatever, and I made an impact on the community and those children. But I also gained the skill by the position that I was in. I was in a leadership role where I had to stand up and I had to take initiative and get this and that done. So I was making sure that, one, I was hitting, you know, a purpose within Alpha Kappa Alpha, which is service to all mankind, but I also made sure that I was tying in the experience that I had and what exactly, you know, I did and the role that I played, and then that skill that I possessed and that I obtained from doing so. And so, and tying it all back in together. So everything all ties in together or whatever, y'all. Don't overthink it. Think of your interest letter, how like people go on, you know, singing shows, whatever, and they got those 5 seconds or those 5 minutes to leave their best impression. So what you call it say? I'm here for a second, baby, leave your best impression. But no, seriously, like your letter should not be multiple pages. Your interest letter should be 1 page. If your interest letter is more than 1 page, then that's a problem. Then that's saying that you can't sell yourself just in 1 page. You should be able to sell yourself in 1 page. You should not have several pages. Leave your best impression. Like I said, get to the point in your letter. You need to make sure you're giving experiences that you have had and qualities that you possess, but making sure you're tying it back to how you can be, how Alpha Kappa Alpha or how whatever sorority can, you know, benefit from you, and how you can be a good member and a good candidate for this specific sorority. You need to make sure that you're also not giving a rundown about Alpha Kappa Alpha, because again, and this is any sorority in general, they know about their org, they know their purpose, they know when they were incorporated, they know when they were founded, etc, etc, etc. It's up to you to be smart about it and take, like I said, like I used in my letter, I used the service to all mankind aspect, and I touched on an experience. I gave an experience and I gave a role that I had, and I talked about what I did, but I also made sure I illustrated that skill that I obtained, or that skill that I possess, which that specific skill will make me a great candidate for Alpha Kappa Alpha. So you want to make sure that you, any and everything that you talk about within your letter, that you're tying it all back to how they should consider you. And always make sure at the end of your letter you thank them for their time and consideration, because at the end of the day, they don't have to sit there and read your letter or whatever, but they are doing it. So you want to make sure that you always thank them at the end of your letter. And like I said at the beginning of your letter, always get them an attention grabber. Like I said, the beginning, that first sentence will make or break whether a person wants to keep reading your letter, and if they're going to actually like really read it throughout or whatever. This interest letter, like I said, interest letter is all, it's about you. It's not about you telling the org about the org. The org knows about the org. The sorority knows about the sorority. It's about you and you explaining who you are, and you telling who you are, and experiences that you have and qualities that you possess, and how those qualities will help you and how it will make you be a good candidate for this specific sorority or whatever. So you never want to just, you know, just go on and on about stuff or whatever. Like I said, you got to make your best impression within those few minutes of them reading. You need to make your best impression within that one page. You need to be selling the heck out yourself. Sell yourself like you never sold yourself before. If you want something, you better sell yourself. And that's kind of it, y'all, of, you know, the tips that I have on how you should write your interest letter or whatever. If you need, help understanding more, or if you just need any guidance with your interest letter or something like that, please don't hesitate to, I will really say, if you want to talk about your interest letter, or you want to like maybe send a draft or something for me to look at, I definitely would say email me. Definitely contact me by email. It's always in my description box, but if you happen to DM me on Instagram, it's also okay as well. But I hope that this was informative, and you got some good information out of it, and maybe your mind is a little stressed because maybe what some of what you should say, or what you should talk about, or you have some type of structure, although there's not really a structure to writing these letters or whatever, but you have some type of thought process when going about writing your letter. So I definitely hope that this has helped someone that's watching. And yeah, and it's your girl P, and I'm out.